In this video, I will show you every player that you need to succeed for the afternoon turbo slate on DraftKings for this Sunday's trio of games as the New England Patriots attempt to crawl out of their early graves against San Francisco, Denver goes on to ride their high after beating New England against Kansas City, and Justin Herbert continues to head Los Angeles and the Chargers as they face an at best mediocre Jacksonville team. My name's Quick Pick Nick, and having manually calculated every player's projection in this slate and simulating hundreds of thousands of different combinations using only the greatest values and projections, here are your locks and lotteries for this Sunday afternoon, October 25th. Keep in mind that these picks are only recommended for the afternoon turbo slate on DraftKings, meaning choices made here may or may not apply to the other slates. With all that out of the way, the first lock here will be our quarterback, and the rookie I mentioned earlier trying to make a name for himself on a team that could very well be the smallest fandom of the NFL, Justin Herbert. Since Tyrod Taylor took a javelin-sized needle to the lung a few weeks back, Herbert has become the leader of this Chargers team and has surprisingly stepped in without so much as a hitch. There weren't any rookie adjustments Herbert needed to make in the transition from college to the NFL, as Herbert started off his career with a 300+ passing yard game against the Kansas City Chiefs and has yet to fall below 19.7 fantasy points on the season. Jacksonville seems to be Herbert's easiest opponent yet, and at $1,000 cheaper than reigning Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, go ahead and lock in Herbert at your quarterback for Sunday. At this point, I'd like to skip over the running backs and receivers and go to the tight ends immediately, and the reason why I'm making this jump and why I said tight ends plural is because we'll be taking both George Kittle and Travis Kelce in this lineup as a locks and lotteries first pair of locked in tight ends. Kittle and Kelce have the highest average fantasy points per game through all positions in this slate outside of quarterback, yet are priced reasonably near the top running backs and wide receivers, with Kittle averaging 11 targets per game over the past 3 weeks and Kelce averaging nearly 9 throughout the 2020 season. These two tanks in the NFL are the perfect locks in DraftKings full PPR format, regardless of their other stats, of which they still have plenty, with both averaging just shy of 1 touchdown per game. Kittle and Kelce will be able to make their money's worth almost exclusively due to their massive volume and reception heavy workloads. With this pair of monsters locked in alongside our potential rookie of the year quarterback, the final two locks of this lineup both are wide receivers, both average 12 or more fantasy points per game, both are playing in the same game, and both have the name Keenan, as my model selected Keenan Allen and Keenan Cole. Allen is one of the most underrated PPR fantasy picks this season, as Herbert seems to favor Allen to a greater extent than his other receivers, with Allen accumulating 10 or more targets in 4 of Herbert's 5 performances. Last week, Allen had a bit of a drop-off with only 2 targets, but managed a touchdown to save his fantasy outlook. This outlier is likely due to the Saints' ability to lock down Allen in particular, which is something the Jacksonville Jaguars will simply be unable to accomplish, having traded away Calais Campbell and their chances of winning on Sunday. On the other side of the ball, unlike Allen, Cole's fantasy production is due in large part to his yardage after reception, as well as red zone performance, including a touchdown in half of his games this season. The reason Cole was selected is because although he is less consistent with more dependency on big plays, he still hasn't fallen below 8 points in a week, and at the low cost of $4,700 on DraftKings, should at the very least be able to score enough to warrant a cheap purchase. To start off with the lotteries at running back, my model chose another pair of same names, James Robinson and James White. Robinson was picked simply because he is Jacksonville's workhorse, and whether it's on the ground or through the air, Robinson remains a part of the game plan, targeted 4 or more times and carrying the ball 11 or more times through the past 5 weeks. Sweet feet James White is getting more heavily involved in the Patriots offense, recording 9 targets last week alone, and will likely be New England's top performing back going forward while Sonny Michel remains inactive. At the third wide receiver position, my model took DJ Chark because as opposed to Keenan Cole, Chark is a consistent option in Jacksonville who benefits from DraftKings PPR scoring as a reliable wide receiver 1 for Gardner Minshew. Finally, with the remaining cash, we're able to get the 49ers defense facing a New England team whose offense really hasn't been able to get it done while they're on the field, with the defense kind of carrying them through games at this point, which will be especially tough against the San Francisco defense, who's only allowed more than 24 points scored once this season. That's what my model was able to come up with for the afternoon turbo slate on DraftKings this Sunday, October 25th. This has been Quick Pick Nick, the intersection for sports, data analysis, and speed. Thanks for watching.